What were the legal punishments for slaves in Rome? Have you ever wondered how slaves were treated under Roman law? In ancient Rome, slaves were viewed as property, not people. This perspective shaped the harsh legal punishments they faced. Let's break down what that meant in practice. Slaves had no legal rights and were completely under the control of their owners. This absolute authority allowed owners to impose severe punishments for various offenses. The punishments were often more brutal than those for Roman citizens. For minor offenses, slaves could face beatings or physical abuse. Owners could use corporal punishment freely. In some cases, slaves were branded or marked as a form of punishment. This was not just painful but also a permanent reminder of their status. There were also more humiliating punishments. One such punishment was called the furca. This involved forcing a slave to carry a wooden yoke around their neck. It was a public display of shame meant to signal disgrace. When it came to serious crimes like theft or adultery, the consequences could be deadly. Slaves could be sentenced to death, often by crucifixion. This method of execution was particularly brutal and reserved for slaves and non-citizens. Sometimes, the punishment extended beyond the individual. If one slave in a household committed a serious offense, all slaves could be executed. This collective punishment served as a warning to others. Slaves could also be sent to forced labor camps. These camps were often harsh environments where slaves worked in mills or ground corn. This was another way to punish and control them. Over time, some legal protections emerged. For instance, under Emperor Antoninus, a master who killed a slave without cause could face punishment. This was a step toward limiting the owner's power. If a slave was treated excessively cruelly, there were legal requirements for the master to sell them. Slaves could even file complaints against intolerable treatment. If a slave was killed by someone other than the master could seek damages. However, laws also protected the master's property rights. Actions against those who corrupted slaves or committed sexual offenses with female slaves were in place. Runaway slaves faced capture and return, and it was illegal to harbor fugitives. The legal system in ancient Rome reflected a strict social hierarchy. Slaves were at the bottom, with citizens enjoying rights and protections that were denied to slaves. In summary, the legal punishments for slaves in Rome were severe and varied. They included physical punishment, public humiliation, forced labor, and even death. While some legal measures were introduced to curb extreme cruelty, the system primarily served to maintain control and protect the owner's financial interests.